I mean, depending on what the regulation.
Good morning, everybody. Are we all set? Let me thank you for being here for an important announcement about how we will work along all lines of the government and all lines of public safety to make sure we're keeping D.C. safer and stronger. I'm joined today by Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, Kevin Donahue, the Chief of Police, Cathy Lanier, the Director of our Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, Melinda Bolling, as long as other members of law enforcement and our labor partners at SEIU 32BJ. We invited you here in front of the Washington, D.C. Holocaust Museum because 7 years ago on June 10th at this place, a man filled with hate came to inflict violence. He came motivated by hatred and anti-Semitism. He came armed with a rifle. And he came with the intent to kill. Upon entering this institution, he opened fire on a crowd of innocent people. One guard that day, several guards, special police officers, Stephen Tyrone Johns, Harry Weeks, and Jason Mack McHuston, were able to make sure that this man did not inflict violence on innocent people. Tragically, one of the special police officers was killed in the line of fire. His fellow officers, Harry and Mac, rushed over and successfully took down the gunman. Because of their heroism, the heroism of those special officers, not one single visitor to the museum was harmed. 7 years later, we come together to pay tribute to these officers, and we remember the ultimate sacrifice of Stephen Tyrone Jones. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Each day, more than 17,000 special police officers and security officers work throughout the District of Columbia to keep our city safe and strong, including several hundred who protect our schools, libraries, and district government buildings. We are grateful for their service, and we need them. We believe that they should have the best training and the best tools so that they can protect us, themselves, our visitors, employees, and residents from danger. So today, we are proposing an update to the eligibility and training requirements for all licensed special police officers and security officers operating in Washington, D.C. Since January, members of my team have been taking a close look at these regulations. Our goal is for special police officers to be fully equipped to respond to emergencies while protecting the rights of individuals. The updated training will include responding to active shooter situations, addressing individuals with health and mental health crises, learning procedures to de-escalate conflicts, and to remove bias from policing. In addition, special police officers assigned to libraries, rec centers, and residential buildings will receive training on community policing. We will publish these regulations for public comment in the coming weeks and will submit them to the Council of the District of Columbia in the early fall. I am confident in these regulations, and I know that they will make our city safer and stronger. We hope and pray that June 10th, 2009 never repeats itself. In the meantime, it is our responsibility to make our best plans and prepare for all emergencies. And when emergencies do happen, We have an amazing team of people, including our chief and our entire force at MPD, and also including our special police officers who are at work each and every day at locations throughout the District of Columbia protecting our citizens. So I want to thank you for being here, and also have the chief of police come up to add to these comments, and then we will make ourselves available for questions.
You know, I must say 100 times in a week that the security officers provide such a valuable service in our city. And what happened here at the Holocaust Museum and the bravery of those security officers is just one of many examples I could cite. It wasn't too long after that we had another attempted active shooter down at the Family Research Council, you may remember. And another very heroic security guard, Leo Johnson, stepped in and stopped that shooter from making his way through a building and killing innocent people. So the value of our security officers should not go unnoticed because they are all throughout the city protecting us everywhere we go. The ins and outs of all of the rule regulations that are going forward essentially come to just updating training. So there'll be some increased requirements in terms of times for training. So there'll be an increase of 40 hours for recruit training. So that's the initial training. There'll also be an increase of about 8 hours of on-the-job training. So the equivalent of after you get your initial training alongside others. So an extension in that time period to evaluate that you understood the training and you are using that training appropriately. And then annual in-service training, which is so important for all of us because things change all the time. And that annual in-service training allows us to not only evaluate and practice the skills that we got initially, but to make changes and educate ourselves on things that change in the industry or in the environment in the meantime. So that annual in-service training will increase by 16 hours. So all these changes are proposed to do two things. One, make our security guards safer so that they can come to work and do their job and feel comfortable, just like we police officers want to do, that we have everything we need to do our job and go home safe every night. And two, to increase their ability to do their job in a better every day. That's what we want from all of our security personnel out here. So I think this is a positive change for our security personnel, and I think this is going to make us all stronger going forward. Thank you.
Okay. We'll take any questions now.
Do all the special police officers go through MPD training or through the training academy, or do some get trained elsewhere, or how does that work?
They don't go through MPD's training academy. The Metropolitan Police Department put forth what the training requirements are, and then they get the training elsewhere. So we don't actually train them. We just set forth what standards or what training we think that they need to have, and then they will get that through their employer.
Does MPD or DCRA then, or both of you then, certify and make sure the training is adequate?
Melinda, why don't you talk about DCRA's role in special police officer licensing?
Thank you, Mayor. So DCRA is the licensing body for the District of Columbia, and so we make sure that the security agencies are following our licensing laws and regulations, and as part of their duties, they're going to implement the new training requirements the Chief spoke about. So they have to have a training curriculum in place when the regulations go into effect, and then if they don't, then they would have a risk of losing their licensure. So that's how we make sure that they're following the training curriculum.
I imagine that there are many different companies out there, so there are many different variants of training. How many of the 17,000 security officers or special police officers don't meet right now or would not meet right now the increased requirements?
Well, I'm going to let the deputy mayor speak to that. Thank you.
There'll be a 2-year, we don't know the answer to how many. As you pointed out, different agencies will have their own standards, some of which voluntarily go above and beyond what the minimum threshold is. We will give a 2-year period for everyone to get within compliance. That would allow for individuals who are experienced but may not have all the training requirements to come up to speed. The other thing to keep in mind is that there are some special police officers who don't work full-time. so they might work weekends or evenings as a supplemental job. That time frame also allows individuals who aren't doing this full time to be able to have the time in service in their job to be able to acquire both the on-the-job training and whatever gaps they might have in the pre-assignment training.
Kevin, how many of those 17,000 are actually gun-carrying SPOs?
Well, I'll answer part of your question. About 7,700 are special police officers. The 17,000 refers to security officers and special police officers. The difference is that special police officers have law enforcement authority, which is why we have enhanced training requirements for them.
I don't know the breakdown.
We'll get you the answer after this to the question about the how many are armed.
And Madam Mayor, can you say why you wanted to do this?
Well, we talked about doing this early on, maybe January, when we were discussing two very critical cases in Washington, D.C. We all came together to review our current requirements and regulations and all of the rules around people who have arrest authority in Washington, D.C. And so the chief and the deputy mayor and our agencies put forward these recommendations.
Was it one particular case that caught your attention that concerned you?
We had 2 in-custody deaths in Washington, D.C., with special police officers involved.
Are you concerned, or do you have any idea of how many special police officers might not be adequately trained right now? Or are you concerned with the training that some of them have had?
Well, we believe that they meet the requirements that are on the books now, and we believe that those requirements need to be strengthened.
Chief, what is the current annual in-service training requirement? You said it's increasing by 16 hours?
Yeah, so currently it's 40 hours. It will go up to 80.
It'll double.
It'll double.
And can you update us? I know there have been charges in the MedStar in-custody death. I believe the second one was Alonzo Smith. Can you update us on that investigation?
I really don't have any updates for you right now. It's still in progress.
Still no charges?
Not at this time.
Critical incidents you're talking about that led to this?
Yes. I didn't hear your questions.
Those are the 2 critical incidents, just to be clear, that you're talking about that led
Those
to
are the
this?
2 in-custody deaths.
Chief, do you have any updates on the New York Avenue shooting?
I do not have any updates yet. I know that we are going to probably put out some additional information on Lookout later this morning or early this afternoon, but right now I'm not prepared to put that out yet.
And let me also recognize Harry Weeks, who's here. And Harry Weeks was one of the officers involved in 2009 in apprehending the gunman and saving a lot of lives here at the Holocaust Museum. And it's good to see you. Former MPD, former DGS. So it's good to see you. We might have to put you back on.
Thanks. Hello. Yeah. Not for my training that I received with MPD, I must admit. We trained twice a year at the range when I was at MPD. Had it not been for that training, I don't think I would have been as successful as I was back on June 10th, 2009. So let's give a hand to the Metropolitan Police Department on that.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
All right,
Take
good
care.
job, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
We now return to our previously scheduled program, already in progress. And now, we bring you the following live press announcement from D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. Our regularly scheduled program will resume following the announcement.
I mean, depending on what the regulation.
Good morning, everybody. Are we all set? Let me thank you for being here for an important announcement about how we will work. Good morning, everybody. Are we all set? Good morning, everybody. Are we all set? Let me thank you for being here for an important announcement about how we will work along all lines of the government.
We now return to our previously scheduled program.
MP.
I have to put you back on.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.